Hello everyone. Welcome back to The Road to Making Bank. Episode 14, is that right, Luka?
Episode 14.
Yep, awesome. So I hope you're all going well, and good to be back in the hot seat with Luka Bernay. How you going, man?
Doing very well. Excited to get another episode in. One episode closer to our goal.
Nice. We cut our setup time by 20 minutes today, I think. Oh no, wait. No, it's been
It's been an hour.
It's been like an hour and a half. Hour and 40. So usually we do 2.5 hours, so we're getting better.
It is getting shorter.
So yeah, that's it. So the first topic is war. When all else fails, they take you to war. That's what, as they say, as old mate Gerald Salente from the Trends Journal says. I don't know if you know that guy, Luka, but he's a bit of fun. He's charismatic personality. He makes a magazine that forecasts trends, and that's kind of his saying. He's foreseen the war in the world, and he's like, when all else fails, they take you to war. The top dogs.
Yeah, right. Well, it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it refers to like, inflation and shit as well. It's like when shit's getting out of hand, they justify printing more money by taking us to war, and then they blame it on the war. So it's like, well, we had to print the money because we're at war. So why are we at war? To perhaps enrich some top dogs' pockets, line their pockets maybe.
Well, yeah, I guess everything is just an excuse to do something else, isn't it? It's just kind of like the whole thing. I guess, like they talk about the whole point of living life is to have children, reproduce, to pass on your genes to the next generation, So everything else, like, having status and everything like that is just another way to improve your chances of reproducing or, passing on your genes.
Making the gene pool better. They're trying to...
But yeah,
they're trying to increase their the chances of their offspring to have a better life, right? That's like a biological imperative, right?
Right.
Guess.
And I guess at some point, I don't know, maybe at that level, it's just war's just a way to transfer things, whether it's money or resources. It's going somewhere.
It just seems to be painfully obvious at this point. Yeah. You take a look at the weapons company stocks prices and how that's going, and do the maths. Or who knows? I could be wrong. Maybe every politician is squeaky clean and not corrupt, but
yeah, well,
say the probabilities are low.
I don't know. You know my views on politics.
Yeah, they're pulling the strings.
You just got to cut them. You got to cut them.
Yeah, the puppets and the puppet masters is what...
Well, you got to cut your own strings, You got to cut them yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe harder for the civilians to cut the strings, but the people that influence the politicians, I think the politicians are pretty happy to have the strings there as long as their bank accounts are looking good. Yeah, so, yeah, it's war, man. It's horrible, baffling. So, but shit's getting real. I have no idea. I'm not going to comment on the conflict in the Middle East. So I have no idea. I'm just not knowledgeable enough at all.
What do we know?
Yeah, what do we know is, so apparently this terrorist group, Hamas, or I don't know what they are. I don't even know. Yeah. So this group have killed people, have invaded Israel somehow, and they've took the first step. So they've instigated it, from what I hear, and now it's Israel just pretty much declared war and retaliation, and it's just ongoing now. I think shooting missiles, taking down apartment blocks, heaps of innocent people have died, which is the most horrendous thing. I think is just the death of innocent people. So that's all I know. Yeah, that's literally Hamas. I think they've declared war and invaded, and then Israel have declared war against them back, or and people have died. That's all I know. I don't really.
And there was a mention of USA sending ships.
Yeah, so this is the main thing. Like, the fact that it could lead to like a big World War III is that USA is getting involved. They've gotten involved, and I can't remember where I heard it, but I think they've been shooting down missiles in the air or something. So they've taken action. They're not just like sending ships in there idle, but they've done something. So I don't know what they've done. Like I don't know whose missiles they were shooting down, but yeah. So something to be aware of. I feel safe here in Thailand. Australia, they're gonna follow USA, I guess, and do whatever they say.
Might be conscripted soon enough.
Yeah, it's a reality for Americans more so because they actually have a draft, which is for men only, as far as I know. But yeah, man, who knows what they could do anything now. It wouldn't surprise me if they made a draft in Australia. After all the shenanigans over the last 3 years. So, yeah, it's a reality for Americans. American men, I guess. There's very few. I think there's a few countries that conscript women. I think Israel being one of them.
Yeah, right. I didn't realize there were any countries that did that.
Yeah, there's a few. I think North Korea as well. I remember reading somewhere. Israel, I'm pretty sure. Possibly Norway as well. I think, yeah. Could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I mean, the last time the draft happened in America, I think was Vietnam War. I think it maybe could be wrong. I'm pretty sure 60,000 guys died. I think that were drafted. I think so. You can fact check me on that, Luke.
Okay.
How many draftees died in Vietnam War? The US draftees.
Countries like Israel, Myanmar, Eritrea, Libya, Malaysia, North Korea, Peru, and Tunisia conscript women into the armed forces, but differ in length of service and are allowed exemptions.
Right. Yeah, so it's more than I thought. But, so
Norway was the first NATO country to embrace the concept of universal conscription, women and men.
Norway, did you say?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
first
I remember
NATO country.
That. Yeah, I don't know if they do the same roles. Like, I don't know if they're frontline, but yeah, it's interesting.
Wild.
It's a wild world, Luca. It's getting wilder.
Well, I guess for people arguing that feminists don't have equal rights, then now they also have equal non-rights. But I guess if you want to, I mean, it's hard, isn't it? These days
it's not equality if only one gender is getting drafted. Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off, Ben. Yep.
I was just going to say it's to belong to a nation, I guess there are responsibilities bestowed upon you. But not everyone has the opportunity to leave the country that they're born in, or the country that they've ended up in. So yeah, I guess it's sometimes if you believe in it or not, you're there. So
yeah, yep. Australia doesn't have conscription. I'm not sure if they ever did, but like doing 1 year service or whatever. But yeah, I'd probably take up arms if someone was invading. Say if I was living in Australia and someone was invading and threatened to kill me or my family or people that I know. But I don't know. In terms of overseas wars, it's just too crazy now. There's too much corruption, and there's no way I'm gonna fight for my country. After witnessing the events of history.
Yeah, I suppose it kind of becomes hard to be certain that you're doing it for the right reasons, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. It's hard to distinguish. So yeah, that is big news in the world. And when it comes to macroeconomics, it's like, so, historically, it seems to, countries get in massive debt after major wars. So it's like a license to print money, pretty much. I'm pretty sure. I think so. The German hyperinflation, the Weimar Republic hyperinflation, that was caused by war spending. So I think it was the debt Germany owed to other countries or whatever, and they just printed, and then they were paying for shit with wheelbarrows full of cash. So you have to consider that a possibility now when it comes to countries you're living in, whether they're going to get the money printers going, whether they won't get involved in the war. But who knows, man? Maybe the war doesn't get bigger. Maybe, but maybe it does. So it's something to think about. So.
What are the George Gammons of the world say when there comes war?
Yeah, in terms of the macro scene, yeah, I think he has similar views to me. Yeah.
Is it a time to invest, or is it? What do you hold, or is he still, regardless of worldly scenarios and situations, just buy when it's cheap, accounting for inflation?
Yeah. Well, that's George Gammon's motto. So in order to buy things when they're cheap now in the stock market, there'd probably need to be a big crash, yeah, which is getting more and more likely every day with interest rates being higher than what assets were purchased at times when interest rates were low. So yeah, I think the US 10-year Treasury bond now is at around 5%, and then people were buying bonds 2 years ago yielding like 2%. So that means those 2% bonds are like, if someone wanted to sell those bonds in the market, they'd be losing a shitload of money because someone can just get a 5% bond. Because they can get a 5% bond because why would they buy a 2% bond if they can get a 5% bond? So that means the person selling the 2% bond has to lower the price of their bond, which means they're losing money, which is in the situation that a lot of banks are in now, because they, if there's a run on the banks or whatever, and they need liquidity and they need to sell assets and they have to sell those bonds, that means that's what happened to Silicon Valley Bank, like pretty much identically.
So for someone like me who doesn't really know much about bonds, how would you simplify this?
I thought I did simplify it.
Well, like for me who I don't know anything about bonds at all.
Oh, you know a little bit, don't you? We've talked about it before, but pretty much it's like when there's an inverse. Oh yeah, I didn't mention. I should have. So there's an inverse relationship between the price of a bond and the yield of a bond on the market. So if the yield goes up, the price of a bond goes down when you want to sell it on the market. Because so if you have a 2% bond, and I've never bought bonds, so I could be like getting the mechanics wrong, but if you have a 2% bond, and you want to sell it, and on the market you can get a bond that gives you 5%. So if you pay $100 for this bond, you'll get, $5 every year, or whatever the coupon dates are, or I don't know how. I've never bought them, so I don't actually really know how it works properly. I'm definitely not an expert. So you're going to need to lower the price because bonds cost a price. Because whoever buys them is getting this interest from the government. So it's worth something because it's like an asset.
All right. So let's say, for example, you buy a bond for $100 and the government's giving you $5. Is that right?
If it's yielding 5%, yeah. So say the 2% bond, you're only getting $2. So that means, say the bond cost, you bought it at 50 cents. I'm probably getting the numbers wrong, but now you're going to have to sell it at like 10 cents. You know what I mean? Because
I mean, if one's giving you 2% and the other, like if one's 2%, one 5%, then one's giving you $5, one's giving you $2. That means they both cost $100, but one's giving you more and one's giving you less, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's like you're giving them. Actually, wait, no, you're giving them, like the government, a certain amount of money, like $100.
Yeah.
But then the bond will cost you a little bit as well, because you're going to make $5, but the bond might cost you like $2, and you're going to make the difference. That's $3.
Okay.
I think that's how it works. I could be wrong. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, so you give them a certain amount of money, like $100 bond, over a certain amount of years or whatever. And then, so if someone can buy a 5% bond in the market, they're not going to buy your 2% bond. So you're going to have to entice them to buy it by lowering the price from 50 cents to 20 cents or whatever.
Right.
But the one on yielding 5% that you can buy, that costs 50 cents. Right. Because you're getting a better deal and like the maths works out.
Yeah.
Does that sort of make sense?
Yeah, I understand now. So you're saying that the one that has the more yield, you can charge more because the difference, you're still making more on the difference than someone who's selling at 2%.
Yeah.
Because like if you sell
you can charge more for your 5%.
If you sell
Yeah.
a 5% for 2%, you're making 3%. But if you sell a 2% for even half, so 1%, you're only making 1% back.
Yeah, yeah. So it's got to even out, which is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you got to you got to match the market by making it cheaper,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, right.
because your bond is not giving enough yield. So yeah, it's pretty confusing. Like it takes a while to get your head around.
And so you're saying the
Yeah,
banks are having an issue because their bonds at the moment are not worth as much as the current bond prices, or?
exactly. Yeah. So they have 2% bonds. Say they have a shit ton, like billions of dollars, of like 2% bonds, and but the market is selling 5% yielding bonds. So that means if there's a run on the bank and the bank needs liquidity to pay out these people that are withdrawing their money and all this shit, then they have to sell their bonds. But like they've paid $1 billion for these bonds, but now they can only sell them for 300 million. So they've taken a $700 million loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So that is the issue, but it gets largely ignored by mainstream media. And so because it's like harder to understand, the average person doesn't like realize this issue.
The
It
implications of
kind of,
it.
yeah, it doesn't really, that's why stocks haven't crashed yet, sort of thing. And it's people are cottoning onto it. And but I mean, we've already had a few banks go down, so it's, but maybe everyone didn't understand exactly why they went down. Everyone maybe just thought it was just a run on the banks, but it's like a liquidity issue. That's what they call it. When they can't cover their liabilities by selling their assets. So yeah. So that's definitely something to look out for in the future. It looks like they might not raise interest rates anymore. So, they were saying, the New York Fed, whatever, like we're going to kill inflation. We're going to keep raising interest rates, but shit's getting real now. Like bond yields are rising, which means people don't want to buy bonds in the market because there's less demand, and then they'd have to increase the yield, from what I understand. And yeah, so yeah, basically as time goes on, these high interest rates are going to play out and have ripple effects. One company goes down, another one goes down that owes debt to another. That's the hypothesis anyway, and we'll see how it plays out. But the thing that could stop that is if the central banks lower interest rates again back to nothing. And if they do that, if they lower interest rates to 0% or 1% to stop the stock market crashing or housing markets crashing, they're just going to turn on the money printers again, which is the likely scenario. But that, because inflation's bad already, that's just going to make consumer price inflation kind of infinitely worse. And it's at the point now, like if they drop interest rates again, it could be like they can't, they're saying they can't kick the can down the road anymore at a certain point. It's like the fall of Rome, the bread and circus, and hyperinflation in Rome. And there comes a point where it doesn't work. You just don't know where that point is exactly, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's like a psychological thing.
And it's wild. So you might get to see the fall of Rome again, Sherman.
Yeah, in our lifetimes, hey. Well, apparently fiat currencies have 100-year life cycles, I think, at the most. And I think it's coming up 100 years now. So the timing's perfect. on like these sort of currencies for a big event to occur.
Yeah, right. Well, so what do you think
that's what people are saying though, but who knows? We could be wrong. We could be all crazy conspiracy theorists, right? But history doesn't say, necessarily say that. It's a probability.
What does history say about gold?
Well, that leads on to our next bullet point, that the gold prices have gone up. So we're talking, where we are, we're talking all-time highs in Australian dollars at the moment, $3,138. And silver is at $37, which is not quite an all-time high. I think in Australian dollars it was $44 in 2011. So, yep. So all-time highs in Australian dollars. It's not. So Australian dollar must have gained some strength because it's not. It hasn't hit. It's not at $2,000 US, I think, at the moment. So, whatever that means. But I think it's smashed the all-time. The previous all-time high. I'll just go to it now quickly. Year to date. Yeah, the last all-time high was, I think, 3,056 or something. So I think it's blown past it by like $100, which is huge, man. So I guess, in terms of history, the gold price is gonna, it always, it's not like, you don't think of it in terms of the gold price getting higher. It's more like the fiat currency is getting lower. So it takes more currency to buy the gold that has an intrinsic value. Does that make sense?
Right. So yeah, I guess the gold always holds its own value at the same price. Well, I mean, its value is gold. Like the value is gold itself, and then the currency is just either is just a representative of its own worth by comparison, I suppose.
Yeah, pretty much. Gold's gold. It'll always be gold, but fiat currencies can, go up and go down and get debased, devalued by the amount of currency in circulation. So yeah. And when it gets serious, like German hyperinflation, they were buying oh no.
Yeah, that's right. Still here.
Oh, you just turned the video off. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it cut out.
Almost lost Luka. Thought I lost Luka there for a sec. Yeah, so in the German hyperinflation, I think there was one guy, he had like a nickname or something, but he was buying up like blocks in Berlin, I think, for like, ounces of gold, ounce here, ounce there, buying up city blocks and shit. So, who knows? It might not get to that point, but it could. Who knows? Which would be very, very interesting. So yeah, that's something to look out for. If you want some safety, I mean, I'm not going to make recommendations, but it could be wise to look at gold and silver before it gets unattainable. The time to buy was probably just maybe a couple of weeks ago when I had that dip.
What was the last price to buy at?
It dropped to probably about 1850 US dollars, I think. And now it's like back up to nearly 2000 US. So, yeah,
that's was a big, huge.
Yeah, so man, like, let's look here. All right, so on 6th October, which was 2 weeks ago, the Australian gold price was 2,857 actually. And now it is 3,160 in 2 weeks. So that's a rise of, what is that? 100, 200, $300, I think, yeah.
If you made a sale and a purchase in that time, you'd be pretty happy.
Yeah, because your gold's gone up $300 Australian. So, but you know, I got a feeling it's not going to go. No way, it's going to go down to 2857 again, considering all the shit that's happening, and maybe the money printers get warmed up again. So, yeah, I should have bloody emailed my dad, told him to buy some. But
what do you think people should be doing with their gold then?
It's more just to have as money. I guess it's like it's been the realest money for like 5,000-6,000 years. So it's more just like to preserve your wealth if you have any. Which, you know, it's people might not be able to afford gold, which sucks. But yeah, and that means you buy silver. But yeah, you look at it as real wealth, real money, and to preserve your purchasing power, insurance policy, however you want to look at it. Yeah. And, you know, I guess that's the way to look at it. Yeah. Do you kind of think of it that way, Luka?
Yeah, well, I guess it's probably more of a backup, isn't it? If anything, but then it's kind of difficult to imagine, in what type of scenario you could get away with using gold as a currency, as a genuine form of payment in a sort of, world war scenario where people are like starving and money isn't worth anything. If you've got gold, I imagine having gold in scenarios like that is almost as dangerous as not having it.
Because you're going to get it stolen off you.
Well, stolen, or you get killed for it.
Confiscated.
Depending on what the situation is. I don't know. I mean, unless you're using it to bribe someone to, to get you across a border or get you out of a country or get you food or something. It just seems very, I don't know, dire, I think.
Yeah, it's I think there will be, still a level of civility. People just barter, and if currencies fully die. But in terms of, you wouldn't use gold to buy food or whatever. You'd use silver to buy food or exchange. Probably buy sacks of food. Gold would be to buy like houses and property and shit. Maybe a motorcycle or something.
But that's what I mean. In situations like that, I don't know, having a house, I don't know. It just I just imagine like a free for all, just kind of no holds barred, civil war kind of thing.
Mad Max style.
Yeah, or like The Purge or something, where it's just like people just turning up to everyone's houses just in search of food or money or whatever they can grab.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just thinking worst case scenarios.
I don't know. People have lots of guns these days, and especially in America. And I don't know. I think people might just lose a lot, and society could just reorganize itself. It's just people might lose a lot that they've worked for. That's the big thing. Human beings are pretty awesome. Pretty a lot of ingenuity, I guess, and gumption, and just get shit started again. It's just people are going to take a loss, and then gold could be used again in the future, but more in it can be direct trade, but maybe it could be tied to a blockchain, crypto or something, or just another fiat currency like direct backed by gold. But who knows how it's going to turn out. I'd say there's a good chance there's going to be direct trade for gold. just, you know, direct swap for oil or something like that. You know, it just depends how many people are open to it. I mean, I'd take payment in gold for something I'm selling, motorbike or something. I was actually thinking about advertising my motorbike when I sold it in gold or silver. But yeah, we'll see, man. Anyway, should we move on to Japan considering digital nomad visas? Hooray, you've written, Luka.
Yeah, well, it's pretty exciting. I just, the last, I guess, few weeks have been researching, looking up.
Are you getting excited? You're getting excited about it, aren't you?
I am getting a bit
feel
excited.
the excitement.
I'm getting excited. I like the idea of, I don't know, living in Japan.
Nice.
I
wanted to. I consider living in Japan. I wanted to in the past. I remember wanting to learn Japanese, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, you're keen. What's your mission?
I guess it would be cool to buy a house in Japan. They're called Akiyas, which I think it translates to empty house. Basically, they're abandoned houses in Japan. I think there's about 10 million or something like that all over Japan that are abandoned. I think the reason behind it is that, as far as what I'm aware, is the culture there is they will buy a house and they'll generally demolish it. If it's not something they want to live in, they'll demolish it and then build something entirely new on top of it, rather than renovating an existing house. Because there's also the waste management fees, like hard rubbish collection, scraps of demolished buildings or whatnot. Because the waste management is so expensive over there, it's cheaper for them to just abandon the house altogether and to simply move. So you've got a lot
must be expensive.
Yeah, you've got a lot of abandoned houses over there, which you can buy, and you can buy the houses with all of their belongings in there. So, like there's a guy called Anton Warman, and he just basically goes through and he buys houses and he just does them up, flips them, and then
he doesn't live in them.
I think he rents them out. He's got a couple for Airbnbs, and then I think sells the other ones. But he's basically just written a book on like these houses in Japan and how to buy them and what to look for and what to look out for.
Sounds super exciting.
So yeah, and
it's piqued my interest.
And the other thing is, you don't have to be a resident. You don't have to be a citizen to own houses in Japan. But on the flip side, owning a house in Japan doesn't award you any preference for getting a visa or a citizenship or anything like that. I think owning a shop, though, does. Like if you own a business in Japan, that gives you...
Oh, yeah. You can get a work permit.
Well, it actually gives you more of I think almost like a preference or an opportunity for a citizenship, or a permanent residency. Yeah, it's one or the other. But something about owning a shop, I'm not sure what the eligibility requirements are. But I was reading about a developer who bought a building, and he bought it because on the bottom floor he had the opportunity to open up a shop, and that gave him the rights to apply for a residency. So buying an apartment building wasn't enough, but having the shop at the bottom was the
Yeah,
deciding
it's like
factor.
a business.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
think I'm not sure. Yeah, like I said, I don't know how big the shop has to be or what type of business it has to be, but having a business there or owning a shop there gives you the opportunity to have a residency. So it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And unlike, I think, Australia, and I think some of the other Commonwealth countries where, and I suppose there's more countries as well, but you're a title holder. So you don't own the land, you own the title. Whereas in Japan,
So you actually own the land in Japan?
in
somehow,
Japan,
like,
my understanding is you own the actual land.
Wow, like in a different legal way.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So I think here it's a kind of like a 99-year lease type setup, whereas there you own it.
Yeah, interesting.
So
Yeah, I think Japan doesn't allow foreigners to get citizenship, but so it must be residency, unless I've heard that maybe it's changed, but yeah, if you can manage to get a cool house on the cheap and start a little business there and get a work permit or residency permit, that sounds sick. And now, they've got these digital nomad visas. They're talking about them. It's in the works, apparently. Try to bring up that site. There is some other options.
Which is almost an even more of a reason to be buying houses in Japan, because if people are going to be purchasing digital nomad visas and moving to Japan, they're going to need somewhere to live. So if you can have, small 1-2 bedroom houses available for people to rent pretty cheaply, then you might have a lot of digital nomads either living solo in sort of, small apartments or small houses. And if they are digital nomads, that means they can pretty much work anywhere. So some might have a preference for living rural as opposed to in the big cities, just depending on the style of person.
Yeah.
So,
Because there'd be more demand. There'd be more demand for these properties that probably didn't have demand before, if more foreigners are coming in, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I suppose if you're not working if it doesn't physically matter where you are, then people might have a preference to live somewhere where they've got some nice scenery or
get work done.
Yeah. So who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I like the idea of it.
Yeah, there was I don't know if you've seen it. There was like a special SBS Dateline episode. Not that I've watched SBS in years, but it looked interesting on this same concept, like foreigners buying cheap Japanese houses. Could be worth looking at. Yeah, but I want to learn more, man. Where do I learn more?
So I would say
Anton.
Yeah, there's a Instagram page. So I'll bring it up.
So for anyone out there that wants to learn more, is it Anton?
It's Anton, ANTON in Japan.
.in Japan. Cool.
And he's got
Anton Warman.
Yeah.
Swedish guy.
He's got a book that you can pre-order.
Following. Free Houses in Japan, it's called. Is that what he's holding it in one of the photos.
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
So yeah, check it out or pre-order it. I think you can get a Kindle version. He did send him a DM. He does have a physical book coming out, but I think he was saying that Amazon won't let him put it on the pre-order just as yet. So if you prefer a physical, it's only a Kindle, but if you prefer a physical book, there will be one becoming available. The other things that I did join were a couple of emailing lists. that he also
he's got a newsletter?
supports. Yeah, he's got his own newsletter.
Cool.
And then there's another one. I'll bring it up.
Looks like he's got a YouTube channel. YouTube Anton in Japan, businessinsider.com, moving to... yeah, maybe that's... I don't know what that is. Cool. All right. He's got a YouTube channel. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, there's a cheap houses Japan newsletter, which is worth...
Has he got a website?
Yes.
Doesn't seem to be in his Instagram links.
Yeah, it doesn't have a link set up for it, but they do have... hang on, here we go. Just bring up the website. It's literally called cheaphousesjapan.com.
Okay. Cool. So if anyone's interested, hit Anton Warming Up and he'll give you the lowdown.
Yeah.
So I guess
I think
he's done it quite a bit.
cheaphousesjapan.com is, if you go /Anton, I think he might be an affiliate. So I think this is separate to him.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I signed up to the newsletter. I think it's $72 US per year. And they give you, each week, they give you listings of best pick houses that they've found in Japan to buy.
Yep. And how much are we talking, Luka? How much are they selling them? Like, what's a good deal, you think, in Australian dollars?
All right. Well, let's do a quick review. They've got this week's house picks. So the first one is 34,000. I'd say that's in US dollars. All of these come up in Japanese. What if you've got Google Chrome? It'll ask you if you want to translate it into English. If you click the box "Always translate Japanese," then every time you open this a page, it will translate it into English for you. If you don't have that option, you can just right click and there should be an option to say translate to English. So you just right click somewhere on the page and click translate to English. It'll give you the details. So they're priced in yen, Japanese yen. So we're looking at the first one here. It says 5 million yen, which roughly translates to about, the conversion I think is 52,000 Australian dollars.
Nice. That's very affordable. If it's a decent house and
I think they sort of measure it in subos.
And that's the land as well, isn't it? The land.
Yeah. So the land area for this particular one is 1,551 meters squared.
Yeah. And I'd assume they'd probably just want you to pay cash, yeah? Like, and when I mean cash, I mean just pay it all. You have to pay them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how the loan system works for internationals.
Oh, yeah. You'd have to pay cash for it, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing is requesting information on the website for cheap houses in Japan. They suggest that you contact them unless you speak Japanese. If you speak Japanese, you can contact the agents directly. If you don't, it's preferred that you go through a broker who does
agent broker.
Yeah, who can handle it for you. Because they said that if you send an email in English, they just won't reply.
Nice. Well, maybe you could go over and check some out.
Would love to.
Even not like buying, just suss it out. Do a trip, get a feel for the country. And would that sound good to you?
Yeah, well, I mean, it'll be coming up 6 years since I've left Australia, so.
Oh man. I feel you, man. I think I did something similar, yeah. Or maybe 5 years, 6 years for me, yeah. Yeah.
So it might be time to get out and about. Japan is calling. It keeps popping up on my radar. So
Japan is awesome, man. Yeah, I recommend it. Had a great time there. Yeah, as we said in the last podcast, they got some problems with debt, but they are a hardworking, savvy society, and yeah, high economic complexity. So it could bode well for them pulling themselves out of a bad place. So.
And as someone who's been there, Shannon, would you live there? Could you see yourself living there potentially?
I would. I could live there if I'd already. If I'm successful in building a business and create more wealth, yeah. But at the moment, it's not a consideration because of the cost. It's cost prohibitive, and I'm just enjoying Thailand at the moment as well. But yeah, definitely consider it in the future. Yeah, I've considered it. Yeah, I thought about it in the past, but just didn't know how I could make it happen. Yeah, it's a cool place. So absolutely, man.
Cool.
Maybe we'll meet there one day.
We'll keep the audience updated on how they go with the digital nomad visas.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there is one called a designated activities visa, which gives you a year there. So it's like you apply based on like a special thing. You might be volunteering for a charity, something like that. Then you might. So that's an option at the moment for anyone that doesn't have like a company sponsorship work permit or something like that. So definitely check that out. Cool. All right. Where are we at? So we've done that. Topics, observations, quote of the day, Frank Kern. So in my Nomad School community group, run by Brett Dev from brettdev.com, he posted today a quote from Frank Kern, and there's a little accompanying 3-4 minute video. Thou shall not fuck around. Thou shall not be a pussy. Time to get to work. Frank Kern.
Love it.
So if anyone is thinking about working online and, making shit happen, I think this is something good to keep in mind, And he goes on to explain in the video that these are 2 things that, you need to do in order to make it to be successful. Don't fuck around, don't waste your time, and don't be a pussy, as in like don't be scared to like pay for a Facebook ad or a Google AdWord or something, and because you're scared it's not going to work. So just take the leap, and also don't waste your time. And yeah, sounds pretty cool to me. So that's just a quick short one I'd mention.
Two dot points that I need to take up on.
Yeah,
for sure.
Luka, once you've started on the idea that you choose, put this up on the wall. I don't think it's like once you're on the path sort of thing. I'd say
once you've committed to
I don't know, maybe you could use this to more like research, idea generation. Yeah, for sure. Investing in plantations, selling carbon credits. So this is something Luka put up. So this is Colombia as a residency option. So it seems to be. I looked on the website, Luka, and Colombia seems to have a lot of visa options, and this could be an idea for one of them. Yeah.
I thought it was, and then I contacted the company, and they said that I think where they'll be setting up the company for this particular program, it was through the expat summit, and they had a special offer for people who were a part of the expat summit or found the company through the expat summit, which was $150,000, and if they contributed that, it was offering a 20% return per year after the first 2 years. So from the third year, so I think from the calculation it was $750,000 over, I think, the 25-year period. So it's a decent return. But
it's a certain amount of money up front. It's not, you can't just
it's just 150,000, and they were taking 20 people for that. But the issue was that they were saying the company will be set up in Uruguay, so you're not actually eligible to get a residency in Colombia. In Colombia, it's a minimum $160,000. So you're 10 grand short anyway. I suppose you could, invest an extra 10 grand somewhere. But they were saying because the company will be set up in Uruguay, you won't be eligible even if you did do it. So it kind of takes that off the list. But they do have other investment opportunities where you can invest if you were looking to
get a
residency in Colombia. I just thought this would be good because it could offset a lot of the work that I'm doing tree work at the moment. Maybe you get some tax breaks by investing in, plantations. But I did speak to a lady that I go sailing with, and she actually works in the carbon credit industry, selling carbon credits. And she did make mention that there's a lot of sort of corruption in the field of carbon credit purchases and distribution.
It'd be like rotting.
So it
actually, I have no idea how it works.
Yeah, so it's, I suppose you'd have to do a bit more investigation into how legit everything is. And where's the money going? Are you actually what are you investing in?
There was a lot of talk of this on the macro scene. Maybe a couple of years ago, it was pretty popular talking about carbon credits, but there hasn't been much talk of it recently. So,
but either way, I think as far as I know, the program only goes until 2050. So the carbon credit program is only till, whatever you're investing in is only going till 2050 for sure. And then after that, there's...
Yeah, and it's government controlled, right? So you might not... Who knows what's going to happen to these governments, right?
I mean, everything's...
is that how it works?
Sorry?
Is that how it works? They're issued by governments?
No, there's a body of that assesses the quality of the carbon credits.
Oh yeah, I see.
So you've got like gold
so they're sold
standards.
independently.
They're sold independently. It's just that the governments, I think, sort of demand that organizations are meeting the carbon footprint standards.
Yeah, and that creates the demand for them because of these governments.
So companies, instead of actually, planting their own trees, will just buy carbon credits off someone who's gone and planted the trees already. And then those trees offset a certain amount of carbon. They hold a certain amount of carbon in the soil. And so you can, I guess... In return for that company planting trees, you give them money, and they say that this patch of dirt is allocated to your company, kind of thing.
Yeah, I love the idea as a free market mechanism, but I wouldn't want to be relying on any government incentivizing these things, you know, in order to affect your purchase, I'd say, of these things. But I do like it as like a just like an ethical thing to do for businesses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and this
it's awesome.
this company in particular was growing Australian trees as well. So I did inquire about that. They said that they moved away from using seedlings and were using clones. So I'm not really sure too much on what the definition is. I'm not sure if that means cuttings or if they're using some sort of, just like they've cloned the DNA of one particular one that grows really well, like have a really good
They've
specimen.
made the process more efficient.
Yeah. So they've gone away from, like I said, I'm not sure if it's cuttings or how they're really doing that, but pretty cool, pretty interesting stuff. So yeah, it was worth looking into. But apparently, from that expat summit, they were saying that Uruguay is becoming quite a popular place to move to.
Definitely. It's got
Punta de Este, I think, was the place that they were saying.
Yeah, I've heard of that place. Yeah. That's in the city, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
What's
one
the
of
city?
it's,
Montevideo.
Yeah, Punta de Este, it apparently is pretty big. It's on the coast. It's a city on the coastline, but pretty big for, I think, expats, business people.
Yeah. It seems to be the attraction to Uruguay is like they just stay out of everyone's business and, you know, globally speaking. And it's just like an easy life. They, you know, like
apparently
it's like a safe place to live. And no, you know, it's probably a good thing. Like no one cares about Uruguay or whatever. So it's like it's a good, safe place to live. Doug Casey has a place there. Doug Casey, one of my mentors, I guess, that I listen to online. But yeah. So you're going to say something?
I was just going to say, I think they produce, I think there's quite a lot of farmland in Uruguay available for purchase. And I think they produce, you know, like some pretty significant percentages of the world's kind of agriculture in terms of like soybean and corn and whatnot.
Yeah. Nice. Well, that's a huge plus. Yeah, if they're good at farming and that, and they have they produce a lot of commodities like that. Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's pretty big opportunity there for agriculture and farming if people are into that. So yeah, I guess there's pretty interesting opportunities there, and apparently quite safe, considered to be quite safe. There was a talk on all the details of it. I think I had the video up, but yeah, so it's pretty interesting.
It is. It's very interesting. These South American countries seem to be really attractive at the moment. As I think we mentioned last pod, but you know, Argentina, Uruguay, Colombia, you know, Medellin's got an awesome reputation now. Maybe there's too many people going there now, but Argentina, you know, I think there's the election soon, so I heard Chris McIntosh from Capitalist Exploits. Was it Chris? Oh, maybe it's someone else. But anyways, there's some macro person was talking up Argentina as an investment opportunity as well. So it's interesting. Never been there. I'd like to go travel there one day.
Yeah, South America would be
maybe
amazing.
You should go to South America and Japan, Luka.
Do
a reconnaissance intel mission. And have a good time while you're at it.
Yeah, the only thing I have to try and figure out is how can I turn it into a business expense.
Say it's for Absolutely, man. If you can reduce your tax somehow, do it. Just say you're going to research a new method of cutting down trees or something.
Well, yeah. I mean, I suppose if you're going over there to look at an investment opportunity, that probably counts, doesn't it?
Absolutely, man. Speaking of Luka reducing his taxes, you want to create a budget. How's your budget going?
Budget is going well. It's it's working.
You mentioned $50 a day the other day.
$50 a day. So I just give myself a fresh pineapple every day. Regardless of how much I spend the day before, whatever I don't spend, I just put aside, and then the next day, it's just a fresh pineapple in the wallet, and then
I thought you were talking about a real pineapple. You had me there for a sec.
No. A fresh fitty.
For any international people listening, $50 notes are referred to colloquially as pineapples in Australia. So yeah.
So yeah, a fresh pineapple in the wallet every day, and then whatever you don't spend goes aside. I'm not sure what I'm doing with that money that goes aside, but I can tell you that I'm doing pretty well in that I'm spending a lot less than what I was. So I'm buying food daily. I mean, really, the $50 is just for food. $50 a day for food.
Yep. Awesome. But it's making you more aware, so you're spending less. As long as you're spending less, man, it's working.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting how conscious you are of it when you're like, oh, actually, I've only got $50 today.
Yeah, and you're using cash, yeah?
Cash, yeah.
So, yeah, I think it works better. You have the cash, you can see it, and you know how much you have left, and it's like once it's gone, it's gone. It's not like you have a credit card you can keep tapping or debit card.
Business expenses, fuel and whatnot, that all goes on the card. So it's kind of separate to what I'm spending, which is a good way to kind of separate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I'm really enjoying it. It's cool because for me, I guess probably like you said, having the cash there on hand, you kind of visually see how much you've got.
Makes it more real when you're spending it as well as a bit. I think as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm loving using cash in Thailand. I've probably used my card about 5 times here in about 4 months. So it's it does the trick. It works good.
So they have quite.
So, yeah.
You have quite big notes in terms of the sum on the actual note.
Yeah, the biggest one's 1,000 baht. So that's about $50 Australian, I think. Yeah. So, but $50 Australian gets you a lot here.
So what would is there anything that would cost you 1,000 baht?
Like if you run up a bill at a bar or something, clothes and stuff like that costs you more. Yeah, like I bought a book. The biggest thing I've bought, I think, since I've been here is 1,500 baht for my book, Digital Marketing Strategy. But I actually paid card for that because if it's going to be a big purchase like that, I might use my card, my Wise International card. Quick plug for them. Good multi-currency card if you need them. So yeah, no, I love it. It's just normal here to use cash. So it's sweet, and like I like it a lot. Probably mainly, I advocate for cash for privacy reasons and like autonomy and that. But like, it just keeps your state, like your online digital account, like clear of crap. So you can see so I can see my monthly subscription deductions and stuff like that. And it's just way easier to see. without it being clouded with like 7-Eleven purchase for $1. You know what I mean? I can see the major expenses that I've spent on, and it just takes up like one page because it's literally just subscription expenses. So, yeah.
Speaking of,
And,
yeah, sorry, you go.
I was just going to say good luck with the budget.
Yeah.
Cheers. Keep going.
I was going to say, speaking of 7-Eleven, I saw an episode I watched a podcast that had Tai Lopez on it. Not sure if you're familiar with it.
Was that the Nomad Capitalist one?
I'm not sure.
No, I watched the interview on the Nomad Capitalist interview with him on the Nomad Capitalist channel, which was good. That's the first time I've ever seen him, but yeah, keep going.
Yeah, he's a really interesting dude. I thought he was everything he was talking about and what he was talking about was pretty cool. Seems to know his stuff. But yeah, he was talking about he had a friend whose father came to America, opened up some gas stations, and wasn't making any money. So then he had all the same color schemes as 7-Eleven and changed the name to 7-Even. And then apparently he just was making like millions of dollars before 7-Eleven sent him a letter saying cease and desist. But
he already made a shit ton of money.
Yeah, so they were kind of talking about how you can you can get away with things for quite a while before someone kind of
he probably like had a lawyer advise him and everything before doing it.
Well, apparently they just never did anything for quite a while.
Yeah.
But by then he'd already made some money. So rip off and duplicate is the as Rich Cooper would say is pretty valid in terms of how to get around stuff.
Oh shit, that's a cool story. Yeah, I like that. And hey, it worked, hey? And it's probably just at the end of the day, it probably helps 7-Eleven. It boosts probably just like a good marketing thing for 7-Eleven.
Well, people just think that you're buying from the same thing, don't you?
Yeah, but I probably heard the story and I don't know, just gives more exposure to them, I guess, because they attract demand. 7-Eleven, man, is the Lord, the savior here in Thailand for me. It's, if you're ever stuck, you got 7-Eleven for vegetarian food or whatever. I think there's like a ridiculous amount here, like 1,000 7-Elevens in Bangkok or some shit.
Yeah, right.
It is, but the thing about it, 7-Eleven here, man, it's so cheap. It's like the same price, if not cheaper, in some things in supermarkets. So it's very different from Australia.
Wow.
Which makes it really popular for everyone. Rad, man. Let's move on to business. I want to talk about this site called motioninvest.com. I learned about this site from Miles Beckler, which is a YouTube personality. He does lots of content on making money from a blog that you do, or like content creation, and like monetizing that through like affiliates or whatnot, or like a newsletter list. So a good way for bloggers to make money is to build a list, make a newsletter, give value to people through that. And then, every now and then you could add a related link to a product, and it could be an affiliate link for a company. It could be, it could be something cool. It could be like the Capitalist Exploits newsletter, which I'll put a link in the in the show notes below. So this website, motioninvest.com, Miles mentioned this site, and you can buy established content websites. So they're good different stages, I think. So you can get like ones with huge followings. But I thought it's something cool. You're looking to, you know, not bootstrap a business so much and just kind of get into it, something already established with an audience. I thought it's something cool to look at. So one example you got here, you got an automotive niche, monthly income $436, asking price is $13,080 to buy the site. Monetization through AdSense, Amazon, Ezoic, visitors per month 8,648. So that seems like a fair amount. But I don't know, actually. I don't really know the numbers. Multiple by 30. I don't know what that means. Multiple. 3 years old. Then you got another one, Paint. So this is a starter one. It actually doesn't have an audience, visitors. But someone wants $1,500. So someone's pretty much just selling a website for $1,500. There's more, but they were just the latest ones. So, yeah, it's interesting. What do you think? What do you think of this opportunity, Luka?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably great for people who maybe already have a product in a similar niche and maybe want to, well, I don't know if it's
like start a blog or something. Yeah, because they'd have to like just continue someone else's work, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's either continue someone else's work or you're either looking for an audience that are pretty specific in something that you offer. So let's say automotive niche. If you go and have a look at the website, what type of automotive, stuff are they talking about? How specific is it? Are they talking about cars? Are they talking about restorations? Are they talking about collector, vehicles? Are they talking about work vehicles like trucks? Like what are they actually talking about? Are they talking about the mechanics of, or just mechanical work in general, like automotive mechanics?
Yeah, it can get niche down pretty far, I guess.
Yeah, and then if you've got a product, you could probably buy the whole thing, get someone to like maintain the website, like on Fiverr or something, get someone to keep writing blogs, and then every third blog or every fifth blog, you bring it back. One of the articles are about a product or a service that your company provides. So you just hit like give the audience blogs about things that they're interested in, and then every fifth one is about a product or service that your company has. So you keep mixing it up, but still adding your own stuff.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think as long as like you can figure out how to maintain the the essence of it and like keep making good content, I guess you could do it if you can maintain it. Maybe they're getting people to write for them already. Maybe it's not the owners that are writing for them.
I mean, it might be, I guess maybe like a out there example of this is if you imagine one of these URLs to be, like the Joe Rogan podcast, and then you as the buyer, you are Spotify. So you're just buying the content or creating a contract where this person and all the content that they produce, they can only produce on your website. And because it attracts...
It could be something like that.
Yeah, because it attracts an audience, your website is getting exposure, or you as the owner of the website could print your business all over it and advertise your own ads on the website. And then it just brings the content actually just brings in the audience.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like having creating content to drive an audience, and then your company just puts a billboard on the website so that everyone that comes to the website sees your billboard or your ad. And it's
Yeah,
just
they could sell out. You can sell ads on the site or whatever.
Yeah.
I think there's a bunch of different ways you could make money off it. I guess the audience is the main key, or the niche. You know, people selling them without an audience. So I don't know how beneficial that is, but
yeah, I mean, it
I
might.
don't know. I guess it could be just a time saver. You know, if you're already interested in one of these niches, and you don't want to like build it from the ground up, a blog or whatever, you could just buy this and take it over and just start doing your own writing, I guess.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, the asking price for the paint one, it's a starter website, and it's an asking price of
not much, is it?
$1,500. So that
Yeah,
$1,500
so it's not
is
unreasonable.
probably covering the cost for someone to set up the website, to set up the URL, the domain, the email addresses, and it's kind of just like
Yeah.
a done for you sort of package. How I would imagine it.
Yeah. I'm looking at another one here. It's niche AI art generator. They want 25 grand for it, but they get 50,000 visitors a month. Monthly income $645. So are they? But that's software as a service. It's not like a content. Maybe they're using content as well. So they're selling sort of different businesses on this side as well. Maybe it's not all just content. Yeah, but they're all online businesses, so interesting. Sewing niche. I guess the beauty is like there's so many niches out there, isn't there? They want 6.5 grand, 20,000 a month visitors. It's not bad. $220 a month at the moment income.
Cool. The more you niche down, the more expensive things become.
To in what way? To buy or to sell?
Oh, just thinking, just takes me back to when I was on the tram and I was talking to this lady and she was on her way to a button festival. She just bought bought antique buttons and just incorporated them into her jewelry. And just like from all eras and all decades throughout history, you just got these buttons that were on, you know, Napoleon Bonaparte's fucking war jacket or something. Who knows what, but yeah.
And they're rare, I guess. So there's not much there, and there's demand for them, right?
Yeah, but I guess the point was that it was a button festival. So thousands of people going to this festival, all interested in buttons. And I didn't even know
there's
it
an
exists.
audience there.
Yeah, exactly. So there's an audience for everything.
Yeah, so why not start a blog and create an audience?
Because if you said, okay, it's going to be a festival for, you know, bits and pieces of craft wear, it might not be a thing. But if you say it's a button festival just dedicated to buttons and all things buttons, people come, I guess, you know. So, yeah. Who knew?
That's it, you know. That's what's pretty cool about getting into something. There's all these different opportunities. All right, cool. Let's move on. Fiverr. So Fiverr, I want to get onto to offer podcast production services. Yeah, thanks for suggesting that, Luka. It was on the list, but it wasn't really at the front of my mind. So I'm going to get that done. Yeah, so Luka, you're interested. You've made a interesting development in your search on Fiverr, yeah?
I have. So I went and did some exploring on Fiverr just to see what types of services people are providing and offering. And there was a couple of voiceover ones. And I thought, well, I've already got the camera set, you know, got the, not the camera, but the microphone set up. We've gone through the effort of setting all this up for the podcast. May as well try and make some use of it. I'm looking for businesses or work that I can do outside of my full-time work, and something that I can do, regardless of time or time of day or day of the week. It's just something that you can come to work on and then leave and then just come and go as you have time available, rather than something that needs a dedicated certain time of day every day or every week. So yeah, I was looking at doing some voiceover stuff, found some creative writing, and then ended up finding a couple of people that do write personalized erotic stories. Yeah, I sent a message to one or two authors who write these short stories, and asked them if they were interested in any voiceover work. One of them was interested, so she sent me some pages of her work. It wasn't work that she had done for clients. It was just her own personal stuff that she'd written for herself. So yeah, I just did some voiceover stuff, just narrating a section of the story. I did all the editing, but when I saved it, I moved the location of the file before saving it, which just messed up the whole file. So when I sent it to her, she couldn't access it. So I was running short on time.
Could probably help you problem solve that in the future, man. We'll talk later about it, but yeah.
Yeah, so I just ended up doing, I was running short on time. I didn't have time to edit it. I was like, rather than spend another few hours trying to edit this thing that she, might not even want, I just did it in one take and sent it to her just to see if she was happy with it, with the voice. And yeah, she came back, she was happy with it. So I'll probably give it a go of trying to make it a little bit more professional, try and make it as perfect as I can, and then see if there's, I guess if her audience has any interest in it, and then maybe can get some work that way. But it's just a fun way to explore the opportunities that are available.
This is so cool, man. This is fucking awesome. You found a super interesting niche. Girls are going to be going to town over your voice, and
that's the idea.
No, this is sick, man. I don't know what the scene is like, but if you get enough work, this is something you could do remotely. And yeah, because you got a deep ass voice that could be a interesting voice for girls to hear.
Well, yeah,
it could turn girls on.
I was concerned a little bit about the Australian accent, and maybe speaking too quickly might be an issue for people to understand. So I guess that's something that I just have to be mindful of when I'm doing it.
You can work on it, but if she was happy with it, that's an awesome sign.
Yeah.
I guess if she likes your voice, that's. Did she say she likes your voice?
Well, yeah. I mean, what was the?
Or just the way you talk, or whatever.
I think the only thing that she did mention was that and she got it. She hit the nail on the head. She was like, "Oh, it sounded like you did the recording in one take," which was impressive. But there were a couple of words where you kind of messed up. But this was just a demo work for it, or was this an actual job? No, it was just a demo just to see if if there was any interest.
You can edit better in the future.
Yeah, and I explained that to her. But she was happy with the rest of it. So yeah, she was more than happy for me to do it, and she even was going to put that copy up on a Patreon. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure before she did that I edited and redo a version that's better, and so it's nicer for the people listening to it.
Awesome, man. Well, maybe she'll come back to you in the future, right?
Yeah.
More work?
Yeah. So I'll do another recording. try and get it polished and then send it to her. And then if, I guess she'll put it up and see if her audience likes it. And if she gets some positive feedback, I guess maybe there's an opportunity there to do some more work.
So she advertised the job on Fiverr?
No, she didn't advertise it. I just came up with the idea of maybe people might be interested in having
so
audio.
you put an ad up?
No, I just contacted the author directly. So the authors.
I see.
Yeah, so
you just searched it.
Yeah.
Outside of Fiverr.
Well, it came up. There's a section of creative writing in Fiverr. If you go to the website, they've got different services. So there's voiceover work. There's, I was looking at writing, different like ghost writers. There's bloggers. Then there was creative writing. Clicked on the creative writing section, found a couple of people that are writing like personalized erotic stories. So you send them a message, hey, can you please write me an erotic story about me and my boyfriend and
but she didn't necessarily
dragons.
say she needed someone. You just kind of contacted. Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
no, there was no advertising for anyone looking for voiceovers for it. I just thought it might be a good idea, and just to see if there was any interest in there at all. And yeah, one author said that she had already had someone in mind for any audio that she was going to do for hers, and the other one sounded like that she said it was an interesting proposition, so I'm assuming that she hadn't received that before, which I kind of thought was unusual because there's a whole section dedicated to voiceover actors. I'm surprised that none of them would have sent a message to anyone.
Writers.
Yeah. To do.
I guess some writers might not have thought about doing audio versions of their work. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess I just think of, like those phone channels that people used to call up and just dirty talk on the phone with strangers. So I just imagine that was a pretty big hit back in the day. Maybe because it was a novelty at the time, but
it's cool, man. You made a creative kind of this light bulb. You made a creative decision to contact these girls. That's awesome. Good stuff.
But yeah, so there's opportunities there outside of just what is available. I guess is probably a good thing to keep in mind. So even if you are on these websites, try and create your own opportunities. Yeah,
for sure. And see how it goes, man. You can build a personal website, start advertising your services. Luka Byrne, voiceover artist, erotic voiceover artist.
Maybe I'll just start sending personalized voice messages to people.
Just give them an example. Give them a demo, pre-recorded. Send them an email with a link. Maybe you can, on your website, you can have demos. Maybe you don't want to advertise that. You want to make it private. But man, there's lots of angles you can play it. So good luck to you.
Thank you.
No worries. You read $100 million offers. Finally.
Read it. I will say I probably absorbed maybe half of it. There was a lot in there, and I was trying to get it done in a sitting. It took a lot longer than I thought it would. I had to take a few breaks in between. But it was
you
pretty...
did it in a day?
Did it in, I think it was 4 hours and 40 minutes.
That's sweet. That's not that long.
So recorded a time lapse of it. So we've got it all on camera. But I would probably need to sit down and I think read it through again. Alex Hormozi's suggestion was to buy the audiobook or listen to the audiobook while you're reading the book at the same time, which I thought was a good idea. I gave it a go.
How did that work?
And it pissed me off almost immediately.
Yeah.
Because
I don't think I could do it.
For two reasons. One, you can keep up with the audio for reading it, which is fine, but I kind of spent more time listening. Like, the attention isn't divided up evenly between reading it and listening to his voice. I'm more listening to the voice over reading it. I'm just kind of like following with my eyes, but I'm actually listening. And then
so you're not like, you need to sort of multitask a bit, don't you?
Yeah, and then the audio version was different to the book. So in particular sections, I guess the book had probably been updated since the audio was first
and then
recorded.
It's annoying to press stop and
it's just, you're following along, and then there's audio for a section of text that is missing from the book. So I don't know if the audio has been updated or the book has been updated, but there's missing. It's not congruent. Like, it doesn't add up. So and then you lose track of where on the page you are, because he's just saying something that isn't in the book. So you kind of lose track, and then you have to pause and go back to where you were, or try and figure out where in the book you are. And then you realize that what he's saying isn't in the book. So then you kind of have to just listen and then try and wait for the next paragraph for where it does meet up. So it kind of worked and it kind of didn't. I guess
if it was perfect synced up, maybe.
If it was perfectly synced up, it would work. But then I also thought maybe that's another good opportunity to do. Maybe I could just read the whole book through once again on behalf of Alex, and then give him the recording.
Read it out.
Yeah. Read out the whole book.
Give an alternate voice
and give him
his
the edited version, the updated version of the audio book.
Yeah.
So
see if you could sell it to him.
Well, just give it to him and then he can release it.
Yeah.
His big thing is about giving first without asking, so maybe I could do it.
Yeah, well, you give it to him for free, and then get people to go to your website, and then you'll get more voiceover work.
Well, there you go. I guess that's an opportunity. But that would be a lot of work. I mean, to do that and then to get it right, to edit it.
The length, it's...
Maybe I could hire you to do the editing, Shannon.
I'm here, man. Sworn agency / podcasting. Anyone out there if they want podcasting services?
Probably should promote the website. Give us an update.
Yeah, I haven't done that yet, have I? I guess it's at a pretty good stage now where I can plug it.
Are you ready to unveil it? Should we? Is it keep it a secret for a little bit longer, or are you ready?
No, people can go there if they want. Yeah, doesn't worry me. It's in first iteration. Things could change. I don't know. I'm super happy with the name, but I think it's cool. It is growing on me. But if you want, I'll just stick to the podcasting for now. But there's agency website, swornagency.com, and then to get to the podcasting /podcasting. So
for the listeners out there who maybe not all around the Australian accent, how do we spell it?
Sworn Agency, so SWORN agency AGENCY.com /podcasting PODCASTING.
You go. Sworn Podcasting. And did have I'll
do a deal for you, Luka.
I mean, the great thing is...
the deal could mean for free.
Yeah.
We'll see.
The great thing is that if you edit some erotic stories for me, then you get to listen to the erotic stories.
Oh shit! Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. Well, Luca, if you give me a testimonial, I'll do it for you for free. How's that?
Oh, there we go. For all the listeners out there, deals are being
Yeah,
made.
I'll commit to that. Absolutely, it's what I'm doing at the moment anyway, pretty much. So
Yeah, but yeah, Sherman does all the work for this podcast, and he does a really great job. So if anyone's needing any work, podcasting or editing, send him a message. You can send him a message through the website, through his website, or you can hit us up on the Road to Making Bank podcast, the Instagram or any of the channels. Yeah,
absolutely.
he's open and ready for business.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool. Yep. Thanks, man. Check it out if you're interested. What else we got? What do we got next, man? Cool. Courses, books. Oh, you're doing another course, yeah? E-farming. Did you want to talk about that course?
Yeah, I mean,
Quickly?
to be honest, I don't really know too much about e-farming. I've just started it. But
we didn't write it down, so we don't have to talk about it.
Yeah, it's a guy called Igor Kafitz, and it's called List Building Lives. But yeah, it's e-farming. Basically, from my understanding, it's collecting a bunch of emails that people have agreed to receive marketing or deals or offers, and you're basically sending those people offers on behalf of...
Could be affiliate offers, could be your own product, could be anything.
Yeah. And yeah, so I'm not sure if it's doing the ads as well. I'm not sure if that's an option. I'm not sure how in-depth it goes, but yeah, at the moment, just literally going through the basics, buy a domain name, set up an email account. And
how's the feel of the course so far?
Yeah, so I mean,
it feels good.
The thing I liked about it was, he said from the start, he's taking away, you don't need to think about anything. Don't try and get creative. Yeah. You don't need to worry about anything. He's like literally giving you the step-by-step process. Like he's going through, how do you create a domain? Like every step. Then what do? You add in this, you copy this, paste it here. Like, you know, like literally every step to do it. So you don't have to actually think. Don't worry if you're doing it, you know, if it's this or that or how creative. Like, I think the most creative you have to be at this point is think of a domain name and just make sure it's a .com.
Yeah, the main idea is, I'm not sure if you mentioned it before, but it's like paying to build an audience. You can pay pretty much like placing an ad on someone else's email newsletter to get them to sign up to your list. So if they want to be provided with offers, pretty much. I think that, so I don't know if there's like a creative element to it, where you have to produce content or anything, but it doesn't seem to be. So yeah, that's cool. We'll keep up to date with that one in the future. But something I might look at as well. I want to do like a blog thing eventually. Maybe I'll talk about it in another pod, but I bought a domain, like an international strategy kind of blog perhaps, which I might do.
Nice.
Yeah, I bought internationalstrategy.co. So I don't know, it's a final name, but I liked it for a start. But I'm like I'm just buying domains willy-nilly these. Not like, I don't know, I have about 7 now, so one's for like email and that especially, but
well, I tried to buy my surname, but they wanted some crazy ridiculous price for it.
Yeah, I think one name domains are like pretty much bought up. yeah, combination of words you can still get though. So I've heard.
Yeah, so it's I mean, yeah, I guess they're and yeah, I guess if you're not really if you're looking for a business idea, buying domains is a business in itself.
You just buy and sell, yeah.
Yeah, a lot
Flip.
of people are doing that. So, looking at up and coming people, buy all their any names, any sort of business name.
What did Alex Hormozy pay for acquisition.com? I think it was like $300,000.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah, right.
I'm pretty sure. So,
yeah,
and he said it was worth it.
I mean, this goes back to that 7 Even petrol station thing where he, it almost sounds exactly the same.
People do that. People buy. I actually read that last week. I think people buy these mistake domain names, but I think they feel like frauds though for doing it. But like, it can get you traffic. Like, it could be like acquisition.com without the C in it or something.
Yeah.
Like spelt wrong. Yeah. So that's interesting. But
yeah, I wonder what the churn or turnover would be from that. Or if you went to acquisition.com and instead of getting to a website that's about a business investing in other businesses, it's just like a website that sells milk or something,
yeah, it tries to sell you something random.
Yeah. So it'd have
Who
to
knows, it could work.
You'd probably still need a business. But the other thing is,
it's just like a traffic thing.
The other thing is a company that big, or people of that have that much money behind them, they might want to also buy all the incorrect spelling accounts as well, so that automatically, because they talk about friction points. If you misspell it and it doesn't work and you don't notice that it's been misspelt, you might just think that the website doesn't work. So rather than taking the risk of you not getting to my website, I'll buy the incorrect spelling as well, so that if you do spell it incorrectly, it still just redirects to the proper website.
Yeah, redirect. Yeah, people do that. It's a smart thing to do. And I think if you want to buy a domain, like it could be smart to just buy all the similar ones as well. So like if you buy, furniture.com, you buy furniture.co, you buy furniture.io, or that's a bad example, but you know what I mean. All the other, they're called TLDs, I think, those extensions.
In fact, I wonder if you could create up like a anti-hero business where you I mean, this would kind of be a little evil, but if you just bought domain names that were incorrect spelling, and then you kind of had like just a landing page, like it was luka.com, but it was LU with 2 Ks a.com, and then when you hit the page, it just says this company no longer exists, or luka.com no longer exists, and
like so bag out the company.
Yeah,
say they don't exist anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like
we had a good 10-year run, but we've decided to shut up shop.
Yeah, or you said like acquisition.com no longer exists, right? And then people get confused, and then I mean, at some point,
then sell it
like
to
how
Alex
many
Hormozy.
people? Yeah, and then at some point, that company would have to say, "Okay, how much do you want for this domain? Because you're causing us to lose
Destroying
traffic."
our brand. Yeah, shit, could be an evil, completely unethical way to make some money. There would be some karma though.
Well,
it's essentially like blackmailing him.
Is there karma in business?
Kind of.
That's the question.
Yeah, probably.
I guess there probably
he'll come
is.
back to you. I think I believe in karma. Yeah, interesting. Okay, let's move on. Life hacks, skills that we want to develop in the future. I wanted to mention, there's just a quick little Instagram post by this guy I've started following on Instagram, funny enough. Matt H. Gray. He's got some cool little posts. But in terms of like, you know, if you're like a solopreneur, autopreneur, we've recently just looked up the definition. Maybe you want to bring that up, Luka. But if you're a solo entrepreneur and you need to be productive with your days, this could help out. I've been struggling with it recently, so I thought I might try and implement some stuff. So number one is, it's 5. The post is 5 rules of autopreneur success. So if you want to go have a look, it's Matt H. Gray on Instagram. Gray, Gray. Number 1, no morning meetings. So if you're booking consultation calls, don't do them in the morning. I'm not exactly sure why he says that, but maybe we'll work that out. Number 2, architect scalable systems. So I guess that's you wanting to put some effort in, put some time into designing a scalable system for your business, maybe. 4 hours of deep work daily. I think that's a good benchmark, because if you're like in the zone for 4 hours, you can get a lot done, I've realized. It seems to me I've been doing that in the afternoon now, up until about 8, 9 at night. I've gone back to my sleeping later routine, Luka. So, number 4, daily exercise. Yeah, I think I'm getting more work done that way, even though I just got to be disciplined. Number 4, daily exercise and movement. Number 5, designate. I guess that's self-explanatory. Number 5, designate time for learning and leveling up, which is self-improvement, self-education. Consistency, at the bottom it says consistency makes scaling easy. So it just kind of resonated with me a bit. So I just thought I'd mention it. Yeah, I might give it a crack, but if anyone's listening, let me know what you think of those kind of protocols, and or go check out his page. You any thoughts on any of those, Luka?
I missed the first 2 while I was looking up autopreneur.
Oh, yep. Sorry, yeah. So no morning meetings, architect scalable systems, 4 hours of deep work daily exercise and movement, and designate time for learning and leveling up. I think it's a good broad thing to like keep shit moving along, keep your health in check, make sure you're constantly educating yourself with, it could be a new course, could be Luka, your e-farming course. Figure out how to make your shit scalable. Deep work, no morning meetings. It just kind of like makes sense to me, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, it's I think it's really depending on what type of business you have. If you're a solo
I guess
business owner,
online business, I guess.
Yeah, if you're an online business person and it's just you doing everything, then maybe meetings isn't really a big thing.
Yeah, like morning, afternoon, who knows?
Maybe you might schedule all your calls for the afternoon, and just leave out maybe the first 4 hours of your day is where you do that deep work, or maybe the last 4 hours of the day is where you do your deep work.
Yeah, you can switch it out, I guess.
And yeah, I guess meetings I would say meetings, it depends. Are they important? Are you having pointless
if it's
meetings?
Clients.
If you're having pointless meetings, then maybe you should get rid of them.
Just cut them.
if you're having meetings that are beneficial, whether they're morale boosting or if they're, maybe self-development or maybe group development, then they might be beneficial to have them. If everyone's walking into a meeting and sitting down and staring at the ceiling, then it's probably a sign that they're not being very productive. So they're not really helping the business. It's just wasting everyone's time.
Cut out unproductive meetings.
Yeah, I mean, the meeting one I think is circumstantial.
Yeah, that's probably the most flexible. Yeah, circumstantial. But the other ones are more like broad, which most people can use, I'd say. Yeah.
I guess that whole thing of concentrating for 8 hours a day and doing 8 hours of productive work. It's just depends how much work you're used to doing. So if you're
being unproductive in that 8 hours, then maybe you're better off trying to do a super productive 4-hour session and do these other things.
Yeah, for me, like I'm certainly struggling. When I go to work, I know exactly what I have to do. Climbing trees, you can see the job in front of you, what needs to be done. But as soon as, if I'm working on this kind of stuff, trying to learn about business and trying to see what job opportunities are there, as soon as I'm not working and I have the day to try and work it out, I have zero routine. So trying to do 8 hours of productive work is a struggle for me when I'm here. 8 hours of productive work when I'm on a job site is no worries. So I think it's just how much work you're used to doing in the setting. So I think trying to do 8 hours of productive work in a setting that you're unfamiliar with might be pretty difficult. So maybe just try and do 1 hour of productive work or see what your limit is. Just try and stay productive for X amount of time. If you have a task that you can focus on it for as long as you can, and then see how long that is, and say, okay, 20 minutes is my limit at the moment. So set aside 20 minutes every day to do some deep productive work, and then see if that gradually expands. You might look at the clock and think, 20 minutes is up already. Or maybe I'll just work for a little bit longer today. Yeah, and that 20 minutes might end up being 30 or 40 minutes. And so you might, rather than, say, okay, you got to sit down for 8 hours and be productive. You're like, I can't even sit for 10 minutes. So then you just give up automatically because you think, okay, I can't do 8 hours.
You might have to plan it out. Yeah, and you might have to plan it out a bit as well. So say, say you could spend 2 hours on doing your courses, then you do 2 hours on business idea brainstorming, or 1 hour. Then you could separate it, and that'd make it less overwhelming. I try to do that with my projects, try and prioritize them. It's a challenge. Yeah, it's like I'm constantly writing shit down on bits of paper, and right now I have like Basecamp for all these different projects, and then I use Notion for like a long to-do list, like a long-term non-urgent, and then I write on bits of paper cut up into 4 squares from A4 bit of paper for like day plans. So but yeah, that's separate. That's more like a note, writing shit down. But terms of a day plan, you can implement this a bit, and you try different things if you wanted, Luka. But
I think writing things down is going to be the biggest thing for me. It's just something that everyone has told me to do, and it's just something that I don't do.
Do it, yeah. Try it. It works for me as long as you don't lose the paper. Just fold up an A4 bit of paper into four, and then like cut it into 4 different pieces, and then you can just keep it in your wallet if you go out. Keep this little bit of paper in your wallet, and yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Look into other software if you want, man. Basecamp but yeah, it's a whole world that is. It's pretty subjective as well. Whatever works for you.
Yeah, I guess I would say the start with the amount of work that you're comfortable with doing or used to doing, and then just build upon that, rather than trying to do all of it.
Yeah, don't overwhelm yourself. Just
exactly.
If you want to do a lot, try and plan it out maybe. So yeah, maybe aim for that 4 hours of deep work that Matt said. So yeah, I wish I had a printer or something. I could print all this shit out and put it on my walls one day if I get my apartment soon. But all right, man, we're coming up to it. We're probably on 2 hours. I reckon we skip the Huberman for now. Yeah, you happy to skip that, Luka?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. Any tools or services you wish to recommend or talk about?
Tools or services. Probably let you take the lead on that one. I'll have a bit of a think, but
yeah, I don't think I really have anything. Maybe a quick shout out to Descript, which if you need to transcribe audio into written form and like remove, say you got a podcast and you want to transcribe it and make a section into a blog post or whatever, and then you can remove. There's a tool, I don't know if it's AI or maybe, but you can remove ums and ahs from the transcription automatically, which a funny anecdote. I put our last podcast through it, Luka. We said 672 times. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 672. So I feel like this podcast, I've gotten better at it. I haven't said more. Maybe I'm just more on the ball or whatever. But yeah.
Did you use Transcript?
It's a sobering statistic.
Did you use Descript to get that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So I bought because I needed to use it for a client. A potential client. I paid $15 US for a month to test it out. So it's pretty cool so far. You can cut up videos automatically. Like you can make videos by editing the text. So if you have this audio with video behind it, you just cut the you can cut the text out and it edits the video at the same time. So it could be a time saving thing in that regard. But man, there's so many like software like this coming out, but it seems to be pretty unique, like in some of the things that Descript can do. I know it's pretty popular. So
nice. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool, actually. Well,
yeah,
maybe we should probably maybe a cool thing to do would be keep a tally, and then see if we go up or down. See the fluctuations of ums and ahs over the
chart.
Yeah,
yeah, we could. I just did it then. I just said there we go. Again, that's 2.
I thought you said yumja. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. The chart.
No ums. All right, so we'll try and get below. I'll put this one through. I reckon this one could be about 400, maybe, this podcast.
Yeah, I reckon.
We'll
I mean, I think there's a couple in here. I reckon there's a fair few.
I say it more than you, but it's probably mainly.
Can you separate the voices or not? It's just total.
You can. So there's an AI detect feature. So I did. We talked about Terminator 2 on the last podcast. I just tried it out, and it separated our voices in a transcript form. So it says, Shernan, Terminator 2 is a cool video, right? And then it says Luka. Yeah, that's pretty sick. movie or whatever, so it can separate. So there's cool tools, man. I want to get into it more. It seems pretty fun.
Nice.
But I mainly just got it to just test it out, and thought I needed it to for the client work, just to test, just for some reasons.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
I guess we have our audios recorded separately, so I guess you could probably run it over each one individually.
Well, what it does is but I uploaded the mixed file.
Yeah.
We could do that though. Yeah. But it has a function where it can separate or recognize our voices and then separate the text automatically.
All right. Well, maybe we could have a running total as well as an individual total. Just see if we can get a conscious tally of who's saying what.
Yeah. See how we go. If I can be bothered.
Is that like a stat? Is that like a stat that you can you actually choose words?
Yeah, you can delete what you want or whatever by just selecting the text.
But okay. So you could choose a highlighted word. So like, let's say if it was pineapples, anytime someone says pineapple, you could insert highlight pineapple through this text. So every time someone says pineapple, it would outlocate the word and then add it to a tally or delete it, or is it just ums and ahs?
I think it could be just ums and ahs. They call them filler words. So there's like, and yeah and shit like that. So what it does, I think you just select what you want to scan for these words, and then it comes up with a number, and if you want to delete them or not.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool technology. Pretty cool. Yeah.
Check it out, man. There's a free version. There's a free level. I actually signed up to PartnerStack, which is an affiliate marketplace that has Descript. So who knows? Maybe I'll be chucking a Descript affiliate link down here one day.
Nice.
Who knows? But it seems to be a good product so far. Cool. Let's see. What do you want to achieve in the next week?
Would like to have this course finished. So the affiliate program finished by the end of next week. I think that's doable.
Video course, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all video?
Yeah, it's all, they're all short form videos.
Cool.
But yeah, I think I can get that done by the end of the week. So start with that. What about you?
Yep. Let's see. I haven't really thought about it. Next week. Oh yeah. I got to go hard this next month. I got to go hard at just getting clients, really, like build these email lists for my cold outreach, getting on Fiverr, maybe doing a Facebook ad or something like that. There's another so yeah. Being conscious of it is like so hard. See, I'm trying not to say it is incredibly hard. So yeah, that's the plan. And also I want to try and build a blog, build a company around a blog, possibly something to do with international strategy. I was going to do it. I remember telling you about Anarcho Flow, which is an idea of a company that I wanted to do, but I might replace that with this name. So there's more stuff I want to do, but we'll just leave it at that for now. So,
I like it.
Yeah. So I think it's a bit of a pivotal period for my time here. This month I got to make shit happen. So, yeah. Okay. Any questions you'd like to pose to the audience for any feedback?
Yes.
Any
If
comments?
we still have a copy of $100 million Leads available for any listeners out there. If you would like a copy of $100 million Leads by Alex Hormozi, hard copy, I will ship it to you anywhere in the world for free.
Hit us up, everyone. contact@shernonhague.com or hit us up on Instagram. Maybe that's the best way. Let's drive some traffic to Instagram if possible. Send us a DM on the Road to Making Bank on Instagram.
Yeah. And if there's any topics that you like or would want to know more about but can't be bothered doing research, send us a message. If there's a topic that you would like to learn about or like to hear an opinion on, send us a message.
Yep.
Yeah. And if you've come up with if you've seen a business opportunity that you thought was obvious that no one had come up with in an industry that already exists, let us know what it was.
Yeah, we can research it and talk about it. So we're all about different ideas on this. So different avenues for businesses, different channels, different strategies. So yeah, let us know. Cool. I don't really have any questions. So I think so. Yeah, let's wrap it up there, man.
Sounds good.
Cool. So thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you on the next one. We might probably have a little break. So if you don't hear from us for maybe a few weeks, we're just having a little break to get some shit done for me personally. So we'll see. We'll talk to you soon anyway. So thanks for listening. Cheers, Luka.
Cheers, Diggity. See ya.
Cheers, later. Bye.